This is Justin Amazon on March 1st, 2018. Taking a look at Amazon. I had a hard time trying to figure out how to dive into today's moves. So I just thought we'd start back at the daily, look at some lines that we've had in here, or I kind of extended over. I've talked about these prices the last couple of days, and they all came into play today. It was incredible from a technical perspective. So we've got a line down here around 1468, 1500, 1514, and we're going to step down into the 5 minute to see some of these lines. We were having these bounces off of 1514, things coming up into, the 1526, coming back down from there, the resistance there, running right back down to 1514, actually breaking through, and after hours just looked like this incredible consolidation here. And that was a shock to see pre-market, an all-time high on the pre-market, and then just the candles to just dive way below the 1514. I thought maybe there's another day of bouncing in this range like it done the last 2 days. But let me try and get in here to right at pre-market. Oh, didn't want to show that. All right. So we got the price of 1514, that line drawn in, and that becomes significant because take a look at what happens at open. The right before the market opened, we dive right below it again, just like we had done in the close. These candles look very similar volume. Let's see, that's 126,000. This is, oh no, it's the open. Sorry, that's 131,000. Anyway, looked like it was gonna possibly bounce again. What's the next candle do? Breaks below. So you have this pretty wide candle with some tails. There was some more buying and some more selling up here. Stayed within the range of the pre-market, within the recent portion of the pre-market, but then broke below. Came down to near the pre-market lows, again with some buying there, but it's significant with that strong of a candle breaking the 1514 price. So after the second 5-minute candle, 10 minutes in the market, think bearish. That's what you got to learn from this. Take another step, dive even further, breaking the 1500 level. That's phenomenal. I was even saying the other day, hey, 1500, buy down there, or even lower, down into the 1470s, something like that. But okay, here's a chance. Maybe we could bounce. Maybe we could bounce right here. And we started to. Then it came back down. Then it stayed below, and it looked like maybe it'll go a little lower. That's kind of a high wave doji. And then a huge bullish candle back up. It's like, oh, okay, definitely going higher with that kind of a candle. Off the 1500 area, maybe it's going to keep going. Oh, wait, came back down to 1500. Then it's consolidating a little bit. Oh, broke out, going back up. Maybe it's going to go up to 1514, and it does. We actually tagged that. But if you're thinking bearish because of how this opened, that was a retest of that bearish breakdown. A lot of times these just retest. You could have bought down in here, traded back up to 1514. It crossed it, probably would have been exited. Not sure what candle you would have been trading on. Maybe this one with the high at maybe 1502 by the low down here at 1495 or a little bit lower. Not even, well, what was that? Yeah, it would have been a 2-to-1. That could have worked. Or close to that. No, not quite 2-to-1. Sorry, doing math late at night. And would have been able to scalp a little something. Would have been able to exit. You would have known that's the target. We've been talking about this. We were below it, clearly below it. This is being retested as resistance. Pretty good candle to say, hey, we're not going above it. These have had some volume come back up, a couple low volume here to consolidate, and then a move higher right into resistance and the sell. Keep going, and we're selling again. And all the way back down to 1500. I wasn't trading any of this, by the way. I was doing something else or not thinking bearish or whatever. Wasn't in the mindset of this. I did see these candles. This was interesting. The lows 14.99.43 and 14.99.42. I love seeing tweezer candles, tweezer-ish candles, similar lows with a bearish move and then a bullish move. I love seeing those right off support. It's like, oh, that would have been a great place to buy. And you could have bought, and you could have moved up a little bit, consolidate, and come back down some. Now, I was around right here, I noticed, and I'm going to try and draw quickly. I was practicing this a little bit. So we'll see how this turns out. It kind of looks like we've got a little bit of one of these forming. Got some consolidation in here and a little bit of a triangle. I love seeing Amazon triangles because they just chop and then they tend to break and can move really, really well. And so it was around here that I saw that. It's like, well, that's interesting. I wonder how that's going to play out. So a few more candles forward, bounced again off this. So it's like, okay, touches in here, touch here, touch here. Bear side, touch here, touch here. You know, maybe we swing this down a little bit. Oh, that's not what was supposed to happen. All right, right back into it. Let's see if I can move this candle. Is it gonna let me grab? No, it's not cooperating. I want to move it. I'm hitting the wrong button. Okay, well, we'll just do that. Okay, close enough. Consider that a touch. Really consolidate. This was interesting too. High wave doji, bullish. Moved up a little bit. These really small candles saying, hey, you know, something's getting ready. This is the build up. A triangle this size. This is the build up. We're 2.5 hours, almost 2.5 hours into the market. Looks like it's going to move up. And you could have seen this as a breakout, depending on how you drew this. So let me back this back up, because this kind of stuff happens. You know, during the day, you're looking at, oh, it was moving. I am really, really rusty at moving, at sketching like this, and I'm really not ready to be doing it live in the video. So there we go. That, I was seeing this. This is what I drew. And come on. It really just doesn't like me to do this right now. It doesn't want to do it. Let me try down here. No. It just looks amazing to have this triangle drawn in. I'm sorry for all of you watch this video and wondering why I'm spending so much time doing this. I'm gonna do this instead. I'm just gonna move it forward. If it'll let me. There you go. I'm gonna move it forward. Oh, it duplicated it. Cool. All right. Move that forward. Look at that. Look at that triangle. Touched again. This is, so remember where we're at. Bullish candle open, and we broke down below. Broke all the way down to support, bounced, came back up, retested. This is resistance, came back down. This is support. We're bouncing in here. Go up a little bit, come back down, go up. And I'll tell you, this is as high as we got. This is a retest of that bearish breakdown. Now we didn't even get back up to the bullish. Maybe this will hold as support. Let's see how this plays out. And we've got a doji, another doji, and we break down. So this one we actually broke out of this triangle. And again, maybe it's a little different. Maybe you drew it a little different. Maybe you caught, you know, this kind of an angle. Anyway, hopefully there's some way to draw this. I gotta stop playing with these lines live. Hopefully there's some way to draw this that, you know, you had something sketched out saying this is looking like a triangle. Let's see what the breakout does. And it breaks down. Looks like it's coming to 1500. It's almost there. Gets there. That's a nice candle. Right on support. Could go higher. Could buy off of that. Just like this could have been bought. This could have been bought. These could have been bought, you know, to trade back up all the way here. Trade back up. Didn't quite get there. Probably would have been trailed out of that one. Here we go. One more chance. You know, bouncing off. Not one more chance, but, you know, very high volume. Looks like it could do it. And the next candle closes below. Now we're right above. Now we're straddling. We're right in here that, okay, it could really go either way, but most of what's been happening is from the onset, first 5 minute candle broke down. This triangle broke down. If this breaks down, the next support I had drawn in was at 1468. And this would have been a great place to say, okay, here's my stop at 1502. Here's my trigger, probably, 1497, 1496, somewhere in here to go bearish. That could have been a setup right there. And then here you go. Let's see what this low is. That low is 1497. So maybe you would have been triggered, maybe not. Just depends on where you would have set your bearish trigger. But look at this. That candle, I said, that's the bouncing candle. Got to get above it. Didn't get above it. All of these just consolidated. This is a good, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes of just consolidation right here, sitting on this old support, seeing if it's going to hold as support. It held a couple times earlier and got through here. Or if you were looking to break the low of the earlier in the day, you could have set your trigger way down here at 1495, 94, somewhere there. That could have worked. So we'll step forward and we break down through that. Keep going down a little more. All of this would have been already a 2 to 1 or more from just that consolidation. And then what do? We retest. Again, this broke down, retested, just like this broke down, retested at same level. It's doing it again. We're totally bearish. We broke that, retested. We broke the 1500, retested. And this is where I'll show you the options, how those moved. This is where you could have gotten in, knowing all of this is saying we're bearish. Now, this is the place to look for a retest. It could have been anywhere in here, could have come back up with a stop up here, somewhere in here. There's some ways to do it in options and see how this moves. And that's what we call a new white soldier, or I'm sorry, a new black crow. It's a bearish candle that opens and closes below the prior candle's close on the 5 minute. This again, consolidation here, wick up, selling, and you just broke down out of that, and then just go. And this just moved massively all the way down to the next line here, crossing it. And I was watching this, looking for, hey, that was my next line of support. I didn't do any of this trading bearish. I was looking for when I could go bullish again, because Amazon has been going bullish. I wanted it. I've been wanting something to go bullish. And, so in here, well, no, I didn't show. So this is, I don't have today's candle yet. We'll come back to it. All right, come down in here. I love a candle like this off support. It's a huge candle, high volume, high wave doji. I'm in. It's at a support. I got in on that candle in options, and it started to bounce, came back, started to bounce some more. And where does it go? It just keeps on going. I know that it had a little false rollover here. It actually comes all the way back up to 1500. $14.99 and 99 cents. Incredible. It actually touched, or I mean a penny away from touching, where this was still, 36 cents from touching. It was just incredible to see that this was holding as this resistance. And then what does it do? It rolls over. And it didn't quite roll over. Sorry. It rolled back down, and then I think it just chopped around. Yeah, so there's the end of it. Okay. So in here, we stayed below the 1500 price. It didn't roll over yet again like it was doing up in here, rolling over to the support. But with some very large, strong candles, it bounced off of 1468. And 1465 was the actual low. This close was at 1468, 468. If you had been looking for this price, you could have had a trade down here just set up. I was actually watching it, saw it come down into that, bought here with an option, and saw it trade back up. And so let me go back to this, looking at the full day, if I can get it to cooperate. Here we go. There's the full day. We'll move this 1 day forward so you can see. Okay, so that's the candle it made. It retested. You know, if you come back in here, this is a bullish retest from this candle to this candle. Traded up into, at that point was really close. No, that made an all-time high that day. You know, the next couple of days just went sideways, broke out again, bullish retest. Today was the retest. It retested this, it retested this, and then, you know, really held that, you know, the previous highs in here, held that level and started to bounce. And so it'll be really interesting to see tomorrow if it continues to bounce and runs higher, maybe making a new all-time high tomorrow or soon. But it has the retest. It pulled back to the point that we wanted it to pull back. So looking back at the options, so I've got that 1475 put on here, which would have been out of the money at the open, way up here, really close to 1514. And then I've got the 1525 call. Both these expiring Friday, just to show where the actual stock opened. And so let's just look at just today. And I think, yeah, this one I already had it just today. And see, okay, at the open, the put was trading around a little more than $2, and the call was trading right around $8 or so. And the call just lost all of its premium way down, you know, from $8 down to 75 cents in here. And the put, even though we were moving bearish, you know, we were moving bearish initially during the day, during the open, you could have bought on the second candle of the day, breaking down for 290. Looks like somebody bought two puts for that price and could have flipped them out at the high of 630, somewhere in there, and you know, where we had seen support around 1500. Then it came back down as, sorry, the put came back down as the stock traded back up and retested from below the 1514 price. So that could have been a good place to, this would have been a good place to sell the put at 1500 price in the stock. This would have been a good place to buy a put at the retest of the 1514 price. So this was around, you know, a low of 252 in here. I'm sorry, that was a high, a low around 172. So you could have done this with buying at 2 and a stop around 1. This would have been, you know, by this time when it touched the 1500 price again, you would have had, you know, 2, 3, you would have had a 3-hour trade on your hands. Look at that, the high there is 455. So you could have flipped that out around 4. That would have been, I'm sorry, I said 2 to 1. So that's a 2. So, sorry, you bought at 2 with a stop at 1. Went up to 450 and say it went up to 4, and you got $4. So you doubled your risk. So 2-hour trade on that move. And then on this one, it, again, looking at both these, as this traded back up, you can see the call is just chopped, which means it wasn't really, didn't have much conviction going up. It just stayed in this area. We're slightly out of the money. You know, we're between $25 and $15 away from being in the money, but the option just continued to go sideways. On the put, we were from these highs here, you know, we did lose some premium because we were moving against the put. We were moving bullish, but you know, you may not have been able to jump on this unless you were looking to short off of another touch of that angle, or if you had sketched these in a way that maybe you thought, okay, that's a good place to just sell it or something, you know. But you could have waited to the breakout here or till these two candles and then this breaks down. That would have been buying at the put candle of 330, and it never looked back to that price until late in the day, I think. Actually, it may not have. Yeah, the low was 359. So you never got back to that price breaking down. If you look at the price in here as this went sideways for 25 minutes, the price on the option was bouncing around between 381, 445, 485, $4, just kind of bouncing back and forth. This great consolidation, and then ran up to $9. So in this, bought any time in here for a quick scalp, or even, had you bought it 5 with a stop down at 4 and it ran up to 9, maybe you didn't get out at 9, but that could have been a 4-hour trade right there, or a 3-hour trade maybe if you got out a little bit differently. Then with the retest, came back down, and this would have been the point to be looking for something to come up to this price to buy, and that was the one candle to do it on. So if you had a order to buy it at say 550, or if you were watching it and seeing, hey, this put is the one. If you're watching this put, I know there's a lot of things to watch with the options. That's what I'm working on doing. So if you bought here, even if you bought the next candle, at $6 with a stop down at $5 or something like that, that would have been $1 risk. And this ended up running to our next support, and you probably could have just flipped it out and just sold somewhere on that candle. Now, had you bought it $6 and sold, let's say at 15, let's say 16 just to make it even, that's a 10-hour gain. From 16 is where you sold it. You bought at 6. That's $10 in options. That's $1,000. A 10-hour with a $100 risk, that's 10-hour. And because this was support, thinking it was going to go bullish, I got into the 1525 call that I've been watching for a few days, and I got in at the price of 95 cents, and then I went to a meeting, and while I was there, the option ran up to $2.30. It basically doubled, but I thought the option was going to move better because it was going to move, or not because it was going to. I anticipated, or because of this being such a strong support, thought we had the potential to go back up to 1500. I thought the option was going to move a whole lot better. It did not. And I had a target on the option of $3, and it didn't exit. It didn't even get up that high. And I should have just had it, should have gotten out when I saw it here at 2. Didn't. I'm still in that I'm still in that call, seeing if it'll run up a little bit higher tomorrow. It'll probably lose some more premium, and if it doesn't run up, I'm going to lose that risk. I risked $1, so $100. I bought it at 95. So I'm risking down to 0. You can consider that like an absolute 0 trade, where the most I can lose is the full amount that I bought. What I should have done was buy the 1500 call. That one moved a lot better. So the price got down to 350 was the low. If you had bought, on any of these candles, in here that actually came down to the 1468 price, that would have been either the low of 350 or this one with the low of 365, but the highs here was 611. You could have bought anywhere in here. You may have needed a little bit more of a range on your risk, because, and this is why I didn't buy this option, because from the low here to the high here was too much. It was more than a dollar. So I needed something that was an easier price to get my risk in there, and not have something catastrophic happen where I'm blowing out my R or blowing out my stop and getting a lot of slippage. So I went with the absolute 0. There's other options you could have looked at, and I haven't even looked at this, the 1510, to see what happens here. This one, let's see, in these candles, probably could have bought for $2 on some of these. No, that was the low. Maybe here, bought for $2.50 with a stop at $1.50, and that would have run up to $6.20 was the high. So that would have been multiple R's, however we slice it. The 1525 that I got into was just too far out of the money, being $50 away on the stock price. And so next time when this happens, because this does happen, it happened back on this day, happened today, Thursday. So, you know, this kind of move does happen on Amazon. If we switch back to the daily, there's a lot more times where we get those lower wicks. You know, there's one, no, it's not a lot there, so we'll zoom in. So it happened here, happened a little bit here. But knowing what option to get into, I clearly didn't get into the right one today. I mean, it still moved, it doubled. I just didn't have my my setup with the correct values to get out the right time. And when I saw it was trading back up, I was hopeful it was going to keep moving through, and it didn't. I should have known from my previous resistance that held as resistance would hold again, and just gotten out at that price, around $2. And you know, we had this line established, like I just went through. Incredible technical day. Again, I'll be looking at this tomorrow to get out of that put. I'm sorry, get out of that call and see how I can do better with this another time. I just want to look at another call here and see. Actually, there's no point in that. Let's just zoom way in here. So we had some range on this, so 275. Highs, yeah, these were a little wider too. So probably that 1510 would have been the right one. I had the 1525 flagged with Thinkorswim. It's just really easy just to grab the option and be able to chart it. And I had that going on my phone during that meeting, but I wasn't so quick to make some changes to the trade. But so come back in here. This is, you know, it was great to see this just move up. Looked like it was going to keep going, and then in here should have just gotten out and would have locked in about an R for the day, which would have been great. That would have been a great way to end the day. Instead, I've got the trade still open with an absolute zero. I know the most I can risk, or the most I could lose, is that full R, and I'm okay with that. That's how I set up the trade. So aftermarket just looks like it's chopping in here. There's a lot of volume spent throughout the day on this move. If we move up higher, great. If we chop around and move back down in here, I'll lose that R. If that happens, I'll see if I can get out and lose less than an R. I still have that as a possibility, but we'll see what happens. So for till next time with another video, this is Justin Amazon.